It is just exactly 11 o'clock within the studios of Classic 105.5, 105.9 on the FM band. We want to say good morning to you. Those of you wherever you are, is the sound of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and we are getting ready to join our friends on television. It is Friday, it is the 29th day of the month of January, and who would have possibly imagined that we would have having this conversation and almost getting ready to talk about February in the past tense. Who would have imagined? Well, it is Friday, and normally we say thank God it is Friday, but it depends on what you're saying thank God for. Because for me, I'm saying thank God it's Friday because I'm grateful that I've survived the week. I'm going to rest for the weekend and come back rejuvenated for the following week, for another week on the grind, another week of productivity. But before you get into your spellbound notion that nothing happens on a Friday, I just want to diffuse that thought that there's some of us who were busy working even on a Friday, especially the folks inside of Tropical Shipping. I think they literally work all around the clock. It is one of the few companies that, while impacted by COVID, they kept us fed. They made sure that things happened behind the scenes. And I remember Cheney saying, listen, we are going to be there for you. Guess what they do? They connect the islands. And they actually, as we get into a new year, they have some really, really grand plans as to how they further connect our islands together. My guest this morning, sales representative inside of Tropical Shipping, Andia Wellington. And you probably went, oh, I just want to say officially that she's officially a GBN girl, and then she was stolen by Tropical. Good morning, Andia. I just had to get that part out.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I am wonderful as always. I'm proud to tell you that to let Chenny know that we nurtured you, and then we passed them on to you. And
he's listening. I hope he heard.
I hope he heard that. But let's get down to business. There's always something exciting happening within Tropical. Unfortunately, you guys always keep it a secret. But for no longer will we keep those things a secret.
No longer.
For 2021, yes. We're letting everything out. And it's an exciting service that you're extending now to Carriacou and also to the Southern Grenadine Islands. Let's talk about it.
Well, before I get started, good morning, Grenada, and a special good morning to my folks in the Grenadines, especially Carriacou. And you know, Joe, I think persons may know of Tropical Shipping. We come to Grenada every week. Our vessel comes to Grenada every week and so forth. But then, you know, we stop at Grenada. And it's like, hey, but it's not only Grenada, it's Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. So for the new year, this is our gift to persons who live on our sister isle, who we hold very dear. We are going to be extending our service to the Grenadine Islands, and Carriacou is one of them. Before I get into Carriacou itself, when I say the Grenadine Islands, I'm talking about, you know, St. Vincent, our neighbors. We love them so much. So some of the Grenadine Islands are going to be a part of that service because we actually have an office in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we're extending it to them, but we're also extending it to the kayaks, the people that we love so much. Oftentimes, what usually happens when persons who utilize our service in Carriacou, they would have to try to get their cargo up there. But we're eliminating all of that. Instead of you having to come down and get it, we are going to send it to you.
Nice.
Very, very nice. So there's no hassle of having to take the ferry to come down to Grenada and get it, or organize with a broker. Or oftentimes in the past year, we've had customers who call and say, oh, I'm not coming to Grenada anytime soon. Do you have anybody who can send it up or recommend someone for me who can arrange getting it up to Carriacou for me? And you know what? I think all of that we took into consideration. And we said, hey, it's not only Grenada. We're not only here to serve Grenadians, on the main island, but we're here to serve everyone. So we're extending the service to Carriacou.
You know, Andy, there's some things, it sounds too real to be true. And when you get to that point, you start questioning, seriously, are they really doing this? So how seamless is this? Let's talk about how does a customer exactly, what do they do? And what sort of cargo are we talking about? big containers, little baby-sized boxes, and where these different cargoes coming? Where is it coming from?
Great question, Joe. Well, we actually do the US, if you have shipments coming from Canada, from the UK, or even China and southern, the Far East and so forth, we get it to you in Grenada through our main port, which is Miami. So when your items are received there, they're generally sent to you in Grenada, and it takes 7 days for that to happen. Now, we're not only offering the small packages for persons in Carriacou. So if you're build furnishing your house or so forth, if you want us to bring down a container load for you and get it up to Carriacou for you, that is going to be done. So it's large, medium size, small, you think about it. Any type of cargo that, as long as it's legal, we will facilitate getting it to you in Carriacou.
And it doesn't matter which corner of the globe that item or object is coming from. It doesn't matter.
That's correct. I know a lot of persons would engage in online shopping. So now you don't have to worry when it gets to Grenada, how am I going to get it? When it arrives in Grenada on our vessel, our operations team is going to get it cleared, and we're going to send it up to Carriacou for you. There are some things to note though. One, yes, we are sending it up to Carriacou for you. However, any payments that you have to make must be made at our office. You don't need to physically come to our office, and that's what I love about this. It's contactless. You can complete it online. It's an online transaction if you're using your credit card, or sometimes I know persons would have cargo that's prepaid, meaning if their relatives are sending it for them, they may pay for it in Miami or in the US or so forth. So there's no hassle when it gets here. So what we would do is when it arrives in Grenada, it's like a transshipment. So we're transferring it from one customs or port facility to another one. You get me?
I get
so
you.
They would go and collect it at the ports in Carriacou. So the customs inspection, which is necessary, happens there. But you don't have to come and search for it, anything of that sort. It will be sent to you in Carriacou.
And can I reasonably assume because the question of that cost, it would be a legitimate question, because you're probably thinking, okay, when it comes to Grenada, there's one cost. Is there going to be an additional cost to get it to Carriacou? If so, who absorbs it?
Joe, it's one cost. So we've thought about this process through and through. It's one cost. So when you get your bill, it is one total that take into consideration, hey, when it arrives in Grenada, we need to get it on the neck one of the vessels that are going to Carriacou and send it up for you. One cost. So you only receive one bill.
Nice. It takes seven days to get out of Miami. Once it gets here, what's the transitionary period for it?
Well, there are two things that determines that. One of that is Grenada Ports Authority, and yes. So as long as they give us the go-ahead to destuff those containers, then our operations team is able to, hey, we have cargo that has to go to Carriacou. They would facilitate getting it on one of the smaller vessels that go up to Carriacou. I know there's a Dollar Sea and the Amelia. We have an arrangement with one of those vessels, and they are going to get it up there. So give and take, let's say we're saying the 7 days from Miami to Grenada, and let's just conveniently add, let's say 3 to 4 extra days. Even it might be less than that, but
right.
Conveniently, let's just say that. So roughly, let's say 10 to 11 days total.
I like the idea of shipping out of Miami, and everybody does that because Miami is the hub. But certainly, intra-regional travel it's an essential component of our lives as Caribbean people. So let's say I want to get something out of one of the Caribbean islands. How seamless is that? Because I'm dependent and trusting tropical. So I order something out of Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia. Let's talk about that. Is it possible? Or do I have to depend on somebody else?
It is possible. On the logistics side of it, well, that's something that we would worry about, not necessarily you, but it is possible to get something from Jamaica, from St. Lucia, from Trinidad. And the interesting thing, though, Joe, is because Tropical Shipping is a Caribbean company. It's a U.S. company that serves the Caribbean.
Right.
So we have offices on majority of those islands. So it's easy to facilitate. It's not a downside. That's why I said it's mainly a logistic kind of, is that it goes LCL within LCL, meaning less than container load, to your small packages and so forth. We're not allowed to move them through the Caribbean like that. And that has a lot to do with Grenada Customs and Ports Authority and so forth. So
Right.
what happens in that case? It goes to Miami and then it comes down. So if you're getting something from St. Lucia or, a small package from Jamaica, it will go to our Miami facility and then it comes down on one of the vessels to Grenada or any of the other islands. But that's not something major. It happens, but I know a lot of persons who do it, they understand that, and hey, there are some technicalities involved in it, but it can be seamless once we plan it.
You kind of get the sense that Tropical Shipping, as with any other company, they're repositioning themselves in what is new and emerging markets, embracing technology, reaching out and trying to expand its portfolio. Is that a reasonable assessment that I've made of the company?
That is correct, Joe. Before we introduced the Caracou or the new Grenadine service, and I should add that it's not only the Grenadines, but we also extended the service to Barbuda. Our sister, well, not our sister isle, but our friends over in Antigua and Barbuda. So we also started that service over there as well. It's similar to the one we're offering for Caracou. But I do agree with you. And even before that, we recently launched services to Belize and Suriname. So we are, let's say we're being a leaders in the logistic and supply chain industry. In the shipping industry, we are being a leader.
Being leaders, all we have to do is just order it, whichever part of the world, and leave it up to Tropical. So let's just say, to make for conversation, how seamless is it? Because some persons, those that are accustomed to the process, they didn't know it. But let's say a first-time customer, you've never used the platform before, Tropical Shipping, and I need to get something out of Miami. Take me through the process. So I order a TV. I've ordered some furniture out of wherever. I get it onto Miami or whichever part. Take me through that process, how it all works, what sort of conversation I'll be having with you and the rest of the team in Miami or wherever you are, yes. Tropical itself.
Yes. So one of the first things that would happen is when you're placing your orders, you'd have to use our address, or you can call us, or you can sign up online and you'd receive your unique partner ID and our address. So there are instructions that you would follow. When you're ordering, you put Tropical Ship, you put your name, Tropical Shipping, warehouse address. When it arrives at our warehouse, oftentimes what customers would do is they would put the country that they wanted to go to. So when it arrives, it alerts us that we know this is coming to Joseph Cadore, right. But we know, hey, Joseph Cadore is in Grenada. So oftentimes they would put GRE next to it. Even if you don't and you're already a registered customer, then it's seamless. When it arrives there, we would contact you and we would say, hey, we need an invoice. Do you have an invoice for this shipment? How much you paid for it online? Because that is a requirement. Or if it's personal effects, oftentimes it would be prepaid. But nevertheless, when it arrives, we would complete all the documentation necessary to get it to Grenada. When it arrives in Grenada, before it arrives rather, you would receive a call from one of the beautiful ladies in the office. I know you always mention Lorna, right? Because you love Lorna's voice. Lorna would call and say, there is a package, you're expecting something that's coming in on our vessel this week. So I'm just notifying you that it's coming in. I will call you again, or you can call. But besides that, for customers who utilize our online platform, they are able to track their shipments using our app and from our website. So they put in their number, their not job number, but they put in the tracking number. They can use the tracking number for their package, and it will tell them where that item is, if it has sailed, if it is at our warehouse, or so forth. So it's seamless. When it arrives in Grenada, you will be notified again. Your package is here, and it is available for you to pick it up. Once it's available, you would receive that call, or some persons even beat us to it. They would call, hey, are the containers stuffed as yet? I need that item. I really need it. So it's seamless.
What about consolidation? I mean, some persons we shop as though we grew up with Granny. So I'm online. I purchased something today, and they told me, listen, that sneakers you ordered for Chenny is going to be delivered to Miami in 3 days, right? But halfway between that, Chenny decided to molest me. Joe, listen, I want you to order me some t-shirts. So, but that's going to arrive in Miami on the Saturday. But I'm thinking, well, it's just 2 days apart. Why do I have to get two separate shipments? Why can't they just consolidate it? Is that service available?
Yes, that is something that can be done. We do offer consolidation, and it's in two parts. So there is one type that we call custom consolidation, where there are persons, some persons prefer that one-on-one with a rep. So they may be assigned to a rep in Miami who would be liaising with them. Your package arrived, or these are the packages that we have for you at the warehouse. That VIP kind of, right.
I'm liking
that can be facilitated. Yes, but when all your packages arrive, they can be consolidated. Not meaning we're not going to take them out of the boxes and put them in one box. No, we're going to ensure that all of them arrive together on one bill. So that's less cost for you, rather. So instead of you having two shipping bills when it arrives in Grenada, you only have one bill, which shows you all the packages that you have ordered.
And that almost sounds too easy to believe. If I didn't know better, I'd probably think that. I mean, if Chenny told me that by himself, I was going to say Chenny just bluffing. You, I trust. I'm just joking. But we talked about signing up for the service online. How seamless is that? Is there a cost to that?
No, there is no cost. Sign up is free. Oftentimes when persons would go and sign up, you'd have to put in your name, your details, and so forth. If you are in our system already, because there are persons who have used us before and they may have forgotten, so they would automatically get that login details. But for some, it will tell them, hey, call the local office in your country and ask them to let you in, because it does do some security checks on persons before it lets them in. But it's not a difficult process. It's very seamless. Or you can just send us a WhatsApp and say, I want to sign up. I don't want to have to fill out anything. I want you to do everything for me. And that can also be done.
That's the most exciting news I got. I don't have to do anything. What's the WhatsApp number?
So you're going to WhatsApp 405-7713, or you can visit our website, www.tropical.com, and it will provide you with details. But the number 405-7713. Just send a WhatsApp, hey, I want to sign up, send your name and your email address and number. Get your number. So
the techno-savvy individuals, they are going to do that. But what about the individuals who wanted to contact you directly in the office, maybe after you want to hang up, to make some general inquiries? How can they reach you?
They can call 440-8787. And one of the beautiful ladies, or sometimes even I pick up the phone, they would be able to assist. We would be able to assist you. Just say, I want to ship something. Some persons would call, this is the item I'm trying to ship. I need some advice. Please advise me. And we are willing to help, always.
They are the professionals in the business. It doesn't matter the size, where it's coming from. Tropical Shipping, that is the way to go. They should become your new best friends. So WhatsApp them, 405-7713, or give them a call, 440-8787. And between Lorna, Andia, Chenny, certainly anyone. Listen, if you see Chenny in the road, in the street, just run across the road, stop him. You're allowed to do that. Do that. Give them a call, folks. Get on board, of course. It doesn't matter which part of the world you're coming from. It isn't too far. that tropical cannot get it very near to you. Thanks a lot,
They are
Andia.
committed.
They are committed, and they continue
To
to connect
island
the
life.
to island life. That's what the jingle says. Indeed, committed to island life. Thanks a lot, Andia. All the best to you. We take a
Thank you, Joe.
quick commercial break for us. When we come back, we'll be linking up with the Lawman. They are next in the wings, right here on today's edition of the Mid Morning Buzz. Right here.
Calypso fans, the 9 finalists to challenge the reigning independence Calypso monarch Sean Nas, the Summer Serpent, on Friday, February 5th at the National Stadium have been selected. Admission is free from the comfort of your homes. Will Summer Serpent hold on to the reign, or will the crown change heads as Sheldon Douglas, Anthony Darius, Croqueta, Jermaine Simon, Teddy Christopher, Philanda Jeffrey, Alicia Alexis, Edison Francis, and Anthony Etienne, all vie for the coveted crown. Time alone will tell, so join the National Celebrations Committee in what promises to be an evening of great calypsos. Carried live on GIS Channel 22, the National Celebrations Committee, and GIS Facebook pages and YouTube channels. Remember the date, Friday, February 5th, 6 p.m. The virtual staging of the 2021 Independence Calypso Monarch, building together a safer, more resilient nation in these challenging times.
Hello, my name is COVID. The good weather is coming, and I'm sitting here waiting for those who won't wear their masks and do their hand washing. The good weather is coming, and I'm sitting here waiting for all those who refuse to do their social distancing. You see, I can't move on my own, so I sit and I wait for you to leave your home. You love the sunshine, the walks in the park, the barbecues, the gossip and the small talk, the carefree spirit that you are invincible, that I, COVID, is not all that terrible. So you let your guard down, and that's what I like. 'Cause I am in the country, and I am in the town. To be honest, I am all around. You know the rules, how to beat me, even if you cannot see me. As small as I am, I sit and wait for the touch of your hand. Then I get to go wherever you go, because that's how I, COVID, begin to grow. The good weather is coming, and I am sitting here waiting for you.
you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the doors shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 538-4787 or 458-4787. Please do not show up at a medical center or hospital, as this may put others at risk. Take care with waste. If you test positive, your waste should be double bagged and disposed of separately. Create a buddy system. If you live on your own, you can plan with friends and family to check in with each other and run essential errands if one becomes sick. Once sick, they should leave groceries on the doorstep. Why it's important. COVID-19 causes a mild illness for 4 out of 5 persons. Self-isolating will help protect the older generation and those who may have underlying health problems from getting infected.
You know, one day I woke up and, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. Nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Indeed, we say Yahoo, Yahoo! Good morning to you and welcome back to those of you that joined us on television, GBN's Channel 7 and Channel 11, Channel 20 if you're in cable, and those of you that's on YouTube or via our Facebook page. Good morning and welcome back with you. My guest is, as intimated, as members of the Royal Grenada Police Force of the Northern Division, and I'm expecting to be speaking with Sergeant Dexter Roberts and Inspector Smart, but I'm realizing that Inspector Smart seems to be having some technical challenges, but no, Sergeant Roberts is here, and so we're going to jump straight into the conversation. Good morning, Sergeant. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you, Mr. Carlo.
Thank you for being part of the program. Let us first, even before we get into the issue of border control, very often when we hear the RGPF makes reference to its different divisions, persons may not be too intimate with it. So when we talk about the Northern Division, so border control issues in the Northern Division, what geographical location are we making reference to?
Okay, geographically we are looking at Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Those areas would constitute the Northern Division.
So, Carriacou, Petit Martinique. So, COVID-19 has certainly COVID-19, we've gotten used to over the years where, I mean, persons, they traverse from Grenada and they move up the islands back and forth, and sometimes it is almost seems as there's almost seamless movement between the different ports. But with the advent of COVID-19 and the challenges that we have here at home and in other territories, certainly it has called for a repositioning and a rethinking and greater focus on how do we control movements between the different islands. What is some of the challenges you have, though? I mean, we often assume the biggest challenge is that of the islands are so close, it's literally just a speedboat away, and it can sometimes be a nightmare for law enforcement, isn't it?
Well, that is correct. Traditionally, the Grenadine Islands, the same way we move around in Grenada with minibuses, the Grenadine Islands, including Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and those belonging to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they use speedboat as a means of transportation. And that has been a traditional and a kind of a historical arrangement from way back when. So in terms of controlling our borders, that in itself poses a little bit of challenge to us in terms of regulating that movement of persons. But nevertheless, we still have to do something. We still have to ensure that our borders are secure and that cases of COVID-19 doesn't proliferate and come into our country. Petit Martinique with regards to preventing the persons from the Grenadines coming into Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I may just hasten to add is that sometime about over a week ago, we have placed an additional vessel up in that sector that will give us that added layer of security, that added layer of what should I say, manpower to patrol that sector to prevent people from coming in.
Second vessel. I mean, the challenge as it is, because one of the things that you highlighted, movements among those islands, it is what they do. We get up in the morning, we jump a minibus, and we go from Grenville to St. George. On those islands, at any given point, literally everybody owns a speedboat. I mean, it's almost easy to say. So when in Grenada, you may own a private transport, a car, a van. Persons jump in a speedboat and they move from any point, and nobody finds it suspect if they see somebody on a speedboat. That by itself, I'm assuming that conversation takes on a more nationalistic purview, in that everybody now needs to be on board with the RGPF to ensure that the borders and our shores are protected.
Well, that is correct. And what has happened is that the additional vessel that has been placed up in that sector is specifically tasked with the sole purpose of creating a deterrence, maintaining a presence in that area. So vessels who are desirous of coming from Canouan into Petit Martinique and Carriacou and vice versa, they are deterred or they are prevented from doing so. But in addition to that, what I can say, because I have I'm on the ground up in Carriacou, I'm working at this time, what I can say is that we have been getting tremendous cooperation from the citizens of Petit Martinique and Carriacou. They have been basically policing themselves in terms of reporting suspicious vessels and suspicious persons that are coming into or leaving, the islands. So very frequently, we will get calls saying that there is a vessel coming from Canouan or wherever, and then we will go on investigate. So it's a partnership, and we are happy for that we can have the citizens on board with us to inform us, because at the end of the day, it's not only a Petit Martinique issue a Carriacou issue, but it's a national issue. So we are very much happy that the citizens of those islands are on board and they're working collaboratively with the police in this regard.
Trade. That's how it is done via the waterways. How does this new imposition of the restriction, how does it affect that, and what has your response been to it?
Well, legitimate trade or legitimate vessels that are doing a legitimate trading, they're allowed to continue to ply the trade. So cargo vessels and stuff, they're allowed to do that, but it has to be in compliance with the COVID regulations as such. But persons who are just going over to visit family or just maybe just to go over going over stay, we try to deter those persons from doing that. But legitimate commerce is allowed because our borders are still basically open for that. That's normal. So there is no problem in moving from Petit Martinique and Carriacou. That is basically okay with that. The issue is that with the upsurge in the cases in St. Vincent, there is this concern that it would bridge the border and come to Grenada. So the main emphasis is on preventing vessels from the Grenadines coming down into Petit Martinique and Carriacou. But between Carriacou and Petit Martinique is not a problem.
We have legitimate business in PM, and they are recognized for that. What is the policy for them getting on island?
Right. Well, they would have to show that they have a negative PCR test as per normal, 72 hours before before entering. When they do arrive are met by the health officials who would do their rapid testing as such. That's the regular health protocols as such, and then it proceeds from there.
And given over the years, and not just over the years, I mean, that's what they do. You have a number of individuals that literally, Petit Martinique, St. Vincent, Union, Bequia, that's what they do. It's a large a large marine space to patrol. And given that you can access the island at almost any point, the individuals, they know that. How are you responding to that? Because some may argue whether or not the addition of the one additional vessel, whether or not that is sufficient.
Well, we cannot be everywhere at all times. That's a given. We do our best to put ourselves in strategic position where we can see as much as possible, give ourselves a wide, panoramic view in terms of seeing, a wide area. But you would find persons that will sneak underneath the radar and get in. But in the areas where they would normally go, the Carriacou police has land teams, land patrols on the ground that are ready to deal with that in case they do happen to get past the Coast Guard out at sea.
The Northern Division. We'll take a quick commercial break, Grenada. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on the Mid-Morning Buzz.
Things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the doors shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 538-4787 or 458-4787. Please do not show up at a medical center or hospital, as this may put others at risk. Take care with waste. If you test positive, your waste should be double bagged and disposed of separately. Create a buddy system. If you live on your own, you can plan with friends and family to check in with each other and run essential errands if one becomes sick. Once sick, they should leave groceries on the doorstep. Why it's important. COVID-19 causes a mild illness for 4 out of 5 persons. Self-isolating will help protect the older generation and those who may have underlying health problems from getting infected.
You know, one day I woke up and, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. Nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the
the challenges. What is exactly this happening as Grenada seeks to control and keep a handle on our COVID-19 challenges, especially in our neighboring islands? Sergeant, the current arrangement that there is there a timetable for that? How long can we expect those measures to remain in place?
Well, I'm not sure in terms of a timetable.
Right.
That has not been communicated to me. I guess the powers that be, whenever they deemed it necessary, or maybe when there is a sufficient enough that there is no longer a safety concern with St. Vincent, maybe then they would maybe terminate that aspect of the operation. But as of now, I am unaware of any date for suspension of that activity.
And as far as you are aware, Sergeant, it is working in its current state. The restrictions and everything, it is working.
It is. I must say that it is working. We have intercepted a number of vessels that were trying to to breach our borders illegally, and we have basically turned them back. Those that were coming in from Canada 1 or the Grenadines, we have turned them back. And I must say here that our presence up there, the emphasis is not so much on catching persons and charging them.
Right.
Our presence is with the sole purpose of deterring persons from entering illegally into the islands.
Now, what is the protocol? Is there a protocol that speaks to individuals leaving the island, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, to traverse and do business in the neighboring island? Because I said, and we both agree that there is a linkage between in terms of trade, commerce, everything that happens within those waters. So what if I'm in Petite Martinique or Carriacou as it is, and I want to get to St. Vincent? Am I allowed to do that? And if so, what is the protocol that actually dictates or governs that?
Well, based on my information I have at this time, is that the borders of the Grenadine Islands, all the borders of the Grenadine Islands are closed at this time. they are only allowing persons to leave, but no one to enter. So in terms of just wanting to go over there and, let's say, sell fish, or maybe provisions or whatever as the case may be, that would not be possible because their borders are basically closed for that purpose. So it's only clearance. They can allow you to leave, but no one enters.
Okay. Now, I would be allowed to go out, would I? So let's say I decide I'm getting to my vessel and I'm going fishing. And I interact with individuals on the waterways from the neighboring islands. They do not necessarily come on island. That in itself could actually offer some challenges. Because while I'm not coming on island, we are interacting either way. So is there a policy that governs, listen, once you leave the port and you pass whatever territory, are you then required to do a PCR test upon entry?
Well, we do not have that policy in place. I'm not aware of that policy. Well, basically, I am in charge of the that patrol sector up in Carriacou, and I must add here that I am attached to the Coast Guard. I'm a member of the Coast Guard, now attached to the Northern Division. So my team is responsible for that patrol, for patrolling the waters between Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And what we do, or what we are engaged in, is turning persons back from Carriacou and Petit Martinique who are desirous of going into Canouan. So even before they enter into the waters of, let's say, Canouan, they're turned back. Now the thing is, there are fishermen who go. We cannot prevent them from, from making a living. So they go out and they do that. We cannot follow them to their fishing ground where they go and fish, but we trust and we hope that when they do go out there, they abide by the social distancing, not intermingle with persons from a foreign nation and stuff like that. But like I said earlier on, it's difficult to police. It's hard to be everywhere at all. But we do our best just to ensure that persons stay within the limits of the safety protocols.
But thus, that by virtue of what it is, it compromises the integrity of everything that you are doing as the RGPF.
But we still have to do something. We still have to be out there. We still have to ensure assure the public that the RGPF is out there, and we are doing as much as we can to ensure that the nation or the nation remains safe. So yeah, there are challenges. Yes, there are loopholes, but we cannot fill all of the the loopholes. But we are doing the best that we can in the interim. And like I said earlier on, we are we want to commend the people from Petit Martin and Carriacou, and I want to believe it is a good thing that they're on board with us. And like I say, they police themselves, and they come to us and they give us information. So by virtue of that, I want to believe that whenever they do go out there, they will work within that safety parameter and ensure that they do not, mingle or interact with persons out there from, let's say, neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Sergeant, how in your estimation has those restrictions affected livelihoods in terms of not just fishermen, given the fact that the islands, they use the waterways as their means of trade, goods and services? How has that has it affected persons in any way? Has there been any shortages of, let's say, food or anything of the sort? Or have they found alternatives in that they probably now opt in to get additional supplies out of Grenada as compared to getting it to the shorter options, which is the neighboring island, the closer neighboring islands?
Well, I cannot speak to what's happening on the neighboring islands, or the Grenadine Islands. I cannot speak to that. I haven't been there.
I was making reference to Grenada. I was making reference to Carriacou and Petit Martinique itself. in terms of their ability, as I was saying, they get food stuff, they do trade with the neighboring islands. Now that is restricted, can you in any way give us an assessment based on being on the ground? Because in Carriacou, Petit Martinique, the place is small. Can you give us appreciation, while it's not your area of expertise, but can you just give us an appreciation as to how persons are adapting to this new environment in terms of where they get their food stuff from and different amenities for the day-to-day living?
Well, what I can tell you from being around is that it is more or less business as usual in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. The people are going about their daily life as normal. The fishermen are going out and fish and returning with their catches, which they would normally sell to the local population. And in terms of foodstuff and other items, I guess the regular inter-island trade between Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique is still in full swing. So the regular commodities are coming up. So I haven't seen any or heard any issue with regards to persons being out of any necessary supplies.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that you've intimated the fact that the regular vessels are allowed, because the last thing you would want happening is that persons now have to make a decision between being a friend to the RGPF and being an eyes and an ear, and they have to decide, well, listen, I can't get food to eat. You know what? And they tell to say, Zaf the police. I'm assuming while you're there just for the purpose of ensuring no illegal activities, I would agree as the RGPF, your responsibility in terms of law enforcement, be the issue of drugs, trafficking between those islands, certainly you would continue. That now offers you a in terms of being able to intercept those vessels that probably ply their trade between those islands?
Well, we still have our regular mandate of, maintaining, keeping away, illicit drugs and stuff from the shores of Grenada. And rightly so. With this additional vessel, we now have additional resources that we can deploy to, to other areas that needed, those buffering up and stuff like that. But our fight still continues, despite this COVID pandemic.
You would probably think that maybe folks that decide, maybe I should stay at home. Anyways, Sergeant Roberts, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Folks, that's Sergeant Roberts, attached to the Northern Division of the Royal Grenada Police Force. And certainly, we're just getting an update as to what the plans are for the RGP. The plans that are in place, actually, for patrolling the borders of our Northern District. Thank you, Sergeant. All the best to you and the team, and continue the great job that's already in progress.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. 8 minutes on to the hour in the morning time is the sound of Classic and GBN Television. The top of the hour is going to be the midday edition, a production of our news and current affairs department. That takes place on Classic. For those of you that is on television, we'll send you back in just a bit to your regular programming. And that's where I say so long, farewell, goodbye to you for now. It's always been a pleasure being here with you. We want to encourage you to continue to play your part in ensuring that we maintain and control our COVID-19 numbers. Remember the wearing of the mask, that is of critical importance. Remembering social distancing protocol. Let us all play our part. Let's be selfish and play our part in ensuring that we keep Grenada safe. All the best to you. The midday edition comes up next, right here on Classic.